Breaking news flashes across screens worldwide. Tensions are peaking in the South China Sea. Philippine supply boats challenge a Chinese blockade at Second Thomas Shoal. Warships are on high alert. The date, September 12, 2025. The world's eyes are fixed on a remote reef where a high-stakes drama unfolds. On one side, China's formidable naval power. On the other, a small, determined Philippine convoy. Every move is scrutinized, every radio call could spark conflict. Dozens of Chinese ships form a menacing wall, blocking access to the BRP Sierra Madre, a rusting, beached warship and symbol of Philippine sovereignty. Two small supply boats, escorted by the BRP Cabra, face off against this blockade. It's David versus Goliath on the high seas. The Chinese ships loom like skyscrapers, their horns blaring, radio warnings echoing. "You are entering Chinese waters. Turn back." The Philippine reply is calm. "We are conducting a routine resupply mission within our exclusive economic zone. We will proceed." This is more than a supply run, it's a declaration of intent. The South China Sea, a vital artery for global trade, is now a flashpoint for global rivalry. China claims nearly the entire sea, ignoring a 2016 tribunal ruling that invalidated its claims. The Philippines, backed by international law, pushes back. This mission is about more than food and water, it's a bold assertion of rights. It's a test of will. Can courage and law stand against overwhelming force? The world watches, breath held, as the standoff teeters on the edge of violence. The outcome here could reshape the region. Every second the risk of escalation grows. The fate of a rusting ship could decide the future of the South China Sea. The stakes have never been higher. The world waits to see what happens next. The mission began before dawn. Two supply boats, Unaiza May 1 and 2, slipped out of Palawan loaded with essentials. These weren't warships, but humble, nimble vessels, chosen for speed and agility. Escorting them, the BRP Cabra, dwarfed by the Chinese ships it would soon face. As daylight broke, the convoy entered contested waters, the horizon filled with Chinese ships, first one then a dozen, forming a blockade. The scale was staggering. Philippine boats looked like toys beside the Chinese giants. The Chinese ships churned the sea, trying to herd the smaller vessels away. On the BRP Cabra, tension was high, but the crew was focused and ready. Their job: protect, document, and communicate peaceful intent. The supply boats were the real target. Their captains, skilled mariners, coordinated every move by radio. The plan slipped through, not break through, the blockade. The world watched via satellite and journalists on board. Every close pass, every horn blast was high drama. Chinese ships came dangerously close, sometimes just meters away. It was a nerve-wracking dance of seamanship and resolve. The Filipino crews held their course, eyes fixed on the distant Sierra Madre. They were close, but the most dangerous stretch was still ahead. The convoy pressed on, undeterred by the wall of steel. Each maneuver was a test of nerves and skill. The mission's success depended on their courage and cunning. The final approach would decide everything. The BRP Sierra Madre is more than a ship, it's a symbol. For the Philippines, this Wantu-era vessel, intentionally grounded in 1999, is a testament to sovereignty and defiance. Manned by a handful of Marines, it's a lonely outpost, battered by the elements and constant Chinese pressure. Each resupply mission is a lifeline, proof that these Marines are not forgotten. The ship's rusting frame embodies the resilience of a nation. For China, the Sierra Madre is a thorn, a challenge to its ambitions. Beijing wants it gone, hoping a blockade will force abandonment. If the ship falls, China could seize the reef. Every supply run is a symbolic act, a victory for Philippine pride, a setback for China's narrative. The fate of this rusting hulk is a proxy for a much larger struggle. It's about more than territory. It's about who sets the rules in these waters. Each mission is a statement: the Philippines will not be bullied. The world sees the Sierra Madre as a front line in the contest between law and power. Its survival is a daily act of resistance. The September 2025 mission was a masterclass in strategy. The Philippine convoy knew it couldn't win by force, so it relied on speed, agility, and deception. The small supply boats with shallow drafts navigated waters too risky for the larger Chinese ships. The BRP Cabra played decoy, drawing attention and engaging in radio challenges. While Chinese ships focused on the Cabra, the supply boats split up, forcing the blockade to divide. It was a classic feint. Confusion opened a window. As Chinese ships moved to intercept, Filipino captains executed sharp turns, exploiting the giant's slow response. Gaps appeared. The supply boats darted through. It was a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. The crew's seamanship and nerve made the difference. In the final dash, one boat drew off pursuers, creating a channel for the other. The Unaiza May 2 surged forward, slipping past the last Chinese vessel by mere meters. The blockade was breached, no shots fired. The mission succeeded through cunning, not confrontation. It was a victory of brains over brawn. The world took note. This peaceful mission stood in stark contrast to June 2024, when violence erupted. That time, Chinese Coast Guard personnel boarded Philippine vessels armed with knives and axes, assaulting sailors and damaging boats. The incident shocked the region and nearly triggered a shooting conflict. The memory haunted the September crew, a chilling reminder of the risks. This time the Philippines adapted, civilian-style boats, a Coast Guard escort, and a strategy to avoid provocation. The approach made it harder for China to justify aggression. By delivering supplies without violence, the Philippines scored a strategic win. It proved they could sustain their outpost and outmaneuver China's gray zone tactics. The mission was a quiet triumph of restraint and adaptation. The world watched Second Thomas Shoal with intense interest. The US quickly reaffirmed its defense treaty with the Philippines, warning Beijing against escalation. Allies like Japan, Australia, and the UK voiced support for international law and freedom of navigation. The EU urged restraint, while China accused the Philippines of provocation. Competing narratives clashed, but global opinion largely sided with Manila. The diplomatic fallout left China increasingly isolated. The Philippines lodged strong protests and called for joint patrols. The incident became a hot topic at the UN and other forums. The successful mission put China's actions under a global spotlight. It showed that even a small nation backed by law and allies could push back. The standoff is about more than a rusting ship. It's about the future of international law. The 2016 Hague ruling rejected China's sweeping claims, affirming the shoal is within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. China ignores the ruling, setting up a clash between rules and raw power. Each successful resupply is a practical enforcement of international law. If powerful nations can ignore legal rulings, the global order is at risk. The fight for Second Thomas Shoal is a fight for the rules-based system that protects all nations. The South China Sea is a strategic waterway, and China's ambitions threaten regional stability. The standoff is a microcosm of US-China competition. The Philippine convoy's actions are part of a larger effort to keep the Indo-Pacific free and open. The world is watching to see if law or might will prevail. The outcome here could set a precedent for contested waters everywhere. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade. 1/3 of all shipping passes through. Any conflict here would disrupt supply chains and threaten the world economy. China's attempts to control these waters pose a direct threat to global commerce. Freedom of navigation is not just a principle, it's an economic necessity. The Philippine mission is a test case. Can international waters remain open? Regional alliances are strengthening, with joint patrols and exercises signaling commitment to open seas. The small supply boats are on the front line of a global effort to protect free trade. The world's prosperity depends on what happens here. The drama at Second Thomas Shoal boils down to a timeless question: does law or power rule the seas? The Philippines stands on law and conviction, China on force and historical claims. The standoff tests the rules-based order meant to protect the weak from the strong. The Philippine strategy, transparency, alliances, and information, shows that small nations can resist without violence. The Sierra Madre mission is a story of hope, courage, and law can still matter. The world watched as two small boats challenged a wall of steel. They delivered more than supplies, they delivered a message. Even in the face of overwhelming force, the rule of law is worth fighting for.